Good morning, everyone. My name is Nova Solana Purba. Today I'm going to present the subject of food processing technology. In this subject, we are going to learn about introduction to food processing technology, food raw materials, cleaning of raw materials, size reduction and screening of solids, mixing and emulsification, filtration and membrane separation, centrifugation, and solid liquid extraction and expression, heat processing, non-thermal processing and harder technologies, evaporation, freezing, and the last is food storage. For the first meeting, we are going to talk about introduction of food processing. Okay, let's talk about food processing technology. The history of food processing is it's been starting from a farm to factory between 16th century, the early 19th century. Farming technology developed very little, so it's already started in 16 centuries ago. So just think about like now it's in 21 centuries. It's been a long time already. During the 16th century, there were a new farming tools. So the farmer already used high technology tools to harvest, for example. And also they use first horse, drown hole, and field drill device by the jetter tools. And another farming technology, for example, breeding of animal continue with the introduction of new breeds of cattle with give higher milk yields. So when they use the technology of breeding, so the cattle can produce more milk. Before the Industrial Revolution in 19th century, food was largely harvested by hand and cooked. Yeah, just think about like when we have a lot of food and then we don't handle it or we don't process it, what will happen? So at this century, it had been for many century in the home. So they just keep it in the home uh, then the food cannot be keep it for longer. However, a few basic food items such as a bread were available from a bakeries at the time. In fact, the price and the weight of bread was regulated by the royal order. So there were not much of bread can be eaten by the normal people, and the production level of bread were domestic and being best in the simple kitchen with open fire and also ovens. And in Industrial Revolution, brought many technologies together. So during the Industrial Revolution, many technologies provide and then new possibilities for investigation. Mechanization took a place and increased the volume of production of food, of good, and also including food products. More factories were built and so many factories manufacturing and they produce for mass production of goods. So the towns on the city grew up very fast and the population expanded at that time. And this also means that there were more people to feed. So they don't keep the raw material at home and they start to process it. And during the war years, the diet of most people hardly changed until the outbreak of the war in 1914. At this time, workers in munition factories were very important, and the need for adequate nutrition was recognized. So, people who want to go to the war, so they need to take care about their diet and the food. And by the end of the war, there were 1,000 industrial canteens supply 1 million meals a day. So they start like maybe like now we can think like having or having a catering like that. For the first time, workers in industry were provided with hot, well-cooked meals at reasonable prices. So they start uh, to generate the price or the cost. And after the war, there was a period of the intense trading in foodstuffs. For the first time, people could eat fresh fruit in the winter. So, thing like this condition is in the four seasons countries. Not like in our country we have only two seasons, but in this country, they have a four season. They have winter season, so they can keep food for longer. Even they can enjoy it during the winter. It means more technologies, more tools they use to process the food. And much food started to come packaged under brand names that soon become familiar. So they have already some brand like you see in this picture. Some brands already appear. The the need for cooking in the home was reduced. So people reduce uh, more not more people cook at home, so they start to reduce cooking of food, and by infallibility of the processed food they start to cook the canned food or the food that they package in the bottle, which as well as improving convenience, very convenient for them at that time, and also provide customers with far greater choices. Look at this picture for evolution of the food processing. During the 1950, it is well documented by chemical preservation. So they use already chemical preservation to keep the or to keep the safe life, to keep the food safe. And also they use already canning during this year, and they keep the food. They can keep the food in the refrigerator at this year, and they already start before century. They start smoking the food like a grill, like we know right now, and they use salt or curling in this time. And the prehistoric evolution of food processing, they start to apply fermentation process, drying process, and cooking process. Let's talk about the meaning of food processing. What is food processing anyway? Food is produced and processed, not only produced but also processed. So uh, they handle it by tools or some technologies or some process to uh, to make a food more goods. Let's have a look in this picture, some pictures on the screen. All food is from a plant or animals, as we know. Of course, like strawberry, cauliflower, potatoes, wheat are plants. So all the all of them are made from agricultural product. As we see here, for more example, like apples, carrots, oats, grapes, plants, and the all food is from a plant. So most of the food that that is from plant, we cannot keep it for longer. So we need to process, or we need to cook the food directly, or maybe we need to keep the food or store the food to keep it longer, and so we can enjoy it in the next week or next month, or maybe we can keep it for years like that. Not only from fruit from the plant, even from the animals, like for example, like fish or salmon fish, dairy cow, chicken, pigs, or beef cattle, mussels, turkey, and then the lamb. They are of all food is from animals. The same thing. When we enjoy the food from the plants, and the same like the food from animal, we need to process them. We need to cook them. We need to keep them we need to keep them and then enjoy them in the next day. Have a look for this picture from a plant or from animal. As we see, like from say the raw eggs, apples, or even processed food like a bread is made of plant. Potatoes, and even fresh milk is made of animals. It's from animals, so it means the food is produced. So, like some plants, let's say like apple or potatoes. These plants are grown, or maybe these tomatoes are are grown in the farm. Another one is food is produced. For example, like these animals are rare and catch. Like this dairy cow, chicken. We need to catch the fish and also pleasants. The food origins of milk, as we know that is it is from a dairy cow or a cattle. We got the milk and then we process or we make a cheese, yogurt, or even butter. And the food origin of eggs, we got the eggs from the hens, and then we add the eggs into the dish. For example, in this uh, uh, cake or in this pizza. And the food origin of the potatoes, we can add, we can process and make them into potato dish. And for the food origin of bread, from the wheat, and then we process and then we make a bread. And also from food origin of tomatoes, we can make a tomato dish or sauce, and we can add some of raw materials of tomatoes in the food. For the food origin of strawberries, we can make a strawberry jams. For fish, we can make, for example, fish nugget and so on. And the last 50 years, and tourism measures developed since World War II have changed the way which food is produced and manufactured. So the food is not only finished in the kitchen, but it's also manufactured in the factory. For example, like this one, this is pictures of the manufacturing strawberry jam, or maybe this one, the macaroni. And the technology has allowed advance in food processing as well. For example, like freeze drying and extractions, and introduce a new food. For example, like this one, meatless crumbles or TVP, texture vegetables protein. So more advanced technology, more advanced processing, uh, bring us into more choices of the food, and also use biotechnology and nanotechnology is increasing during during processing the food and handling the food. Not only the advance in food technology, even the greater customer awareness also of the nutrition. For example, they care about the diet and health. So it has led to many areas of food manufacture and the formulation of food products with some modification nutritional composition. For example, like this one, you see this product have a low calorie butters, and this product have low calories food, so they can keep still enjoy the food, and then they can aware for the nutrition and also diet and health. Another um another advance in food technologies, for example, genetic modification atau GMO product. it's we cannot close our eyes for the more modification of the food. GMO of ingredient has been also increased. Concern for not only like how to prepare the food, uh, how to keep the food, how to store the food for longer, even increase. It is also increased how to handle the food and how to modify the food that the food that like what we want. For example, like this example, golden rice. So we don't only eat the rice, we don't only get the carbohydrate, for example, but in this golden rice, they add vitamins, vitamin A levels. And another example is in this tomato. So this is the wild type of tomato. And then after some modification of GMO tomato, so this is how it looked like the GMO of a tomato. So concern for the welfare of animals and humans in food production have also influenced the types of food available and how they produce. Food biology. What is food biology anyway? Applies molecular genetic, biochemistry, microbiology, sensory science to the understanding of biological process that affect for food health, safety, and also quality. So food processing also think about food biology. And not only food biology, food chemistry is also focus on the effect of chemistry and food healthfulness and quality during the process and also the storage. Of course, when we process the food, when we store the food, something will happen. Uh, the chemistry reaction will happen during the handling by food chemistry. And another one is food engineering. Food engineering develop food processing and also packaging strategy for the delivery of high quality, promotion, environmentally friendly and also safe food to the customer. So food processing is processed food that have been changed mechanically and chemically in domestic or in commercial level. Domestic means maybe we handle it at home in our kitchen, but for commercial level, it means by the factory, handling by factory or manufacturer. Reason for processing food. So the first is to make them safe to eat. Of course, we don't only eat, but we need to make sure that the food are safe. And the second one, we save time and energy in the home is already start during the 19th century. So it's more convenience for people at the time. And to create a new food products and allow for fortification as well. For the healthier food option, vary the diet, increase the shelf life of the food, and ensure the right choice all the year round. Let's see what is the food processing state. Food processing can be divided into two. The first is primary processing, and the second is secondary processing or convenience food. In primary processing, what we are doing to do is to change a basic food stuff, just change the basic, to change keeping quality, make it sellable and ready for cooking and eating. Just cook and eat. For example, milling the wheat, pasteurizing milk, making vegetables oil from seed and also nuts. And for the secondary processing, it, it takes a basic processed food and use it to produce a food product. For example, making margarine from vegetables oil, making bread, cakes, biscuit from flour, making dairy products from milk and convenience milk. In primary process, what we are doing to do is we convert the raw materials into food commodities to make them sellable, ready to cook, or even safe to eat. And in this process, in the primary process, has a minimum change into physical state of food. And primary process method include harvesting. We harvest the food from agriculture. We clean it, we sort it, we grade it, and milling. We bake it, weighing, and the final is distribution, and then we can eat it at home or in our table. This is the simple process. Uh, what we have done at home, for example, we grill the lamb meat, and then become grilling like this. Another one is the milling of the wheat of flour as an example of food primary process. And what else? For example, like we grow the apple, we pick the apple, we wash it, and we blend it, make it a juice, and become apple juice. Minimally processed food such as wash, peel, slice, juice, frozen, shared, and dry. Food that requires little processing or production include wash and baked fruit and vegetables, or shell and ground the nuts, or maybe coffee beans. For the secondary processing, what we are doing in the secondary processing, we convert ingredients into the edible product. The method utilized to transform primary process food product into another food of food. In the secondary processing, food include we mix it, knead it, or ferment it, bake, we can it, or maybe we cook it again. And in the in the secondary processing, we can see example the food is processed like this milk. We're rearing the cow or the cattle, doing the milking process the fresh milk, and we convert them into milk, cheese, sugar, and butter. And another processed food, for example, like the wheat, and uh we get the grains, and then we blend, we dry the grains to make a flour, and also we process the flour, make a bread dough, and we got the bread. And more highly processed food in the secondary process, for example, bake, fry, smoke, toast, puff, fermented, pasteurized, artificially flavored, and also artificially colored. Food is processed to help preserve and exchange nutrients and freshness of ingredients at their peak. The canned tuna, bean and tomatoes, frozen fruit and vegetables, pure fruits. The ingredients such as sweeteners, spices, oils, flavors, colors, and preservatives are also added into the food. For example, like in this picture, to improve safety and taste, and also add the visual appeal from, for example, in these pasta sauces or a cup of noodles. Instant noodle or rice, we add some spice, for example, or some flavors or some preservative to improve the safety, to keep it longer, to store it. And when we keep it, the tomato sauce in the jar, we also add some preservative. And when we when we prepare the salad dressing, also the sauce is the same thing. Food can also be processed. So what it is the ready to eat? Ready to eat food and require a little or no preparation. For example, like this breakfast cereal, or the jam, or the peanut butter, ice cream, yogurt, biscuit, ham, cheese, or spread. We can eat them directly or ready to eat, or maybe just require a little, or maybe no preparation. Just eat them fresh like this, already packed in the bottle. For the food processing, enable food to be baked, staying fresher for longer and saving time. For example, prepare a daily food or frozen meal. We keep it in the freezer, and then we heat them in the microwave, and then we are ready to eat them. For example, like the meals or the pizza. While we process the food, of course, the first we need to make sure safe to consume and edible. The health concern with the population has led in increasing demand for with the food need to be healthy, because the healthier food choices it's developed. Yeah. For example, the food has lower salt or fat, or even has no sugar, for example. Products are also sometimes fortified in to improve the nutritional profile. But nutrients may be added into the product to replace the nutrients lost during food processing, or maybe add extra nutrients that will not normally be present. For example, added fiber in the yogurt. And another one is produce a substitute product with similar nutritive value. So this is may be added into the product to make sure that the product safe to consume and edible to eat. Another objective of why we process the food is to help to enhance the shelf life of food. Of course, like raw materials or raw food from that we got from farm, or when after we harvest from the farm, it's all fresh. But we cannot keep them for longer, so we need to enhance the shelf life. We need to enjoy the jam for a few days, few months, or a few years. Processing food often make them safer by killing the existing bacteria, or maybe slowing bacteria grow when we pack it. Heating foods, for example, help remove harmful bacteria. For example, preserving food through the processing, including with fermenting process, salting, canning, pasteurizing, freezing, or even drying. They The process also help to remove the harmful bacteria, so it's safe and it can exchange the shelf life of the food. Another objective of why we process the food is to help to enhance white choice all year round. For example, today I want to enjoy eating a donut and a coffee, and the next day or the next week I'm going to enjoy the yellow rice with some curry, and maybe another time I want to enjoy it on the coffee or in anywhere. So the processed food allows customers to experience and enjoy a wide variety of food items. So customer demand and the lifestyle choices has lead and develop of wide variety and convenience and fast food as well. Another objective is increased profit margin. As we see in this table, the food that's served in the food service in the restaurant up to 4%, in the cafe up to 15%, fast food already increased, become 9%, and the food truck and catering as well. So the profit margin of the processed food is also developed. Another one is enhance the sensory attribute. So processing food provides the customer with a wider choices. For example, like this bread. You can enjoy the bread, and also this is a bread with low calories, for example, or high fiber. And the processed food can modify the flavor, the texture, the smell, the color. This is why this is brown or contain like most is like a chocolate like that. And they change the shape or maybe or the smell. And another one is make more convenience for busy customer. Of course, in this 21st century, so more people, more busy, more they have no time to cook at home, so they just go to the grocery or in the supermarket. They bought the canned food or the processed food and they just reheat them again in the microwave or maybe they keep it in the freezer and then reheat again and they uh enjoy it and then it's very convenient for busy people. For example, people who live in the town or in the city. What is the advantage of food processing? Of course, save time, labor, and food. A little cooking skill needed. We don't have to know how to cook every kind of food, and it has less waste, often fortified, easy to store, and also wide variety. But beside the advantage, of course, there is a little disadvantage of processed food. The first is nutritional losses. It might be happen during the processing and addition of the unhealthy substance. For example, the preservation or maybe some flavor they ate and the negative health impact, longer or maybe shorter and unhealthy diet habit. This is some classification of convenience food. For example, like frozen food is like a meat, fish, and for the dried food, like milk, soup, sauces, TVV. For the canned or bottled food is, for example, like fish, vegetable, uh, pig, jam, sauces. For the cooked and chilled refrigerated, the sauces rolls, and takeaway food like the chips, burger, pizza, and so on. In food processing, the innovation of food processing has also led into the development of functional food. A functional food provides a lot of benefits for the basic nutrition value. For example, dairy product containing probiotic bacteria or cholesterol lowering spread, drinks, and cereal bars, and omega-3 eggs as well. Other functional food or drinks fortified with nutrients that would not usually be present to any great extent. For example, folic acid fortified bread or breakfast cereal. So the food innovation the keep to do some innovation for food processing uh, that develop the functional food. The profile of three types of processed food. A food that undergoes extensive processing and to extend its shelf life. And the last one, a product with a high economic value. It's the three profile of food processed food. Okay, thank you for listening, and I hope it all you get a clear with the history, the evolution, the idea about the definition of food processing, the state of primary and secondary processing and the method of food processing and why we need to process the food, what is the advantage and disadvantage of food processing. That's all for my presentation. Thank you and have a good day.